Hey, looks like it's going to start.
Sweet.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3. Let's get some more. Have your hands. Some more. Just give some more.
Well, hello. As any one of the 6 or 7 of you who are tuning in will notice there's a difference. Pat not here. Pat show up later. But Mitch is back. Mitch has got a break from work, which was awesome. And we will get let's get the goofy stuff out of the way. The things that we have to do, because, to pay the bills that don't get paid. So we are proud members of the Bar Cart Co-op, which is a collection of friends who create content for the whiskey and other distilled spirits public. The Bar Cart Co-op YouTube and Facebook pages have information about upcoming and past special shows, which happen about every quarter. From blind tastings to distiller panels to discussions of special collaborations and the usage of unique grains, the Bar Cart Co-op has educational and fun episodes for your enjoyment. The oldest in the group is Distillers Talk, hosted by Christy Atkinson and Alan Bishop. It's a conversation with people from distilleries and distillery adjacent that gets into deep and sometimes off the rails and back again discussions with their interviews. New episodes arrive at the end of your work week. If that one is not nerdy enough, then check out Distillers Talk. Yeah, I'm out of touch. The One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. This is the show where Alan Bishop answers any questions about distilling and often puts them to the test. It could be individual grains, mash bills, equipment, and methodology. New episodes come out randomly, so subscribe. And then we have the show which doesn't make these mistakes, the Bourbon Turntable, where they mix the love of music with the love of whiskey. They have conversations with musicians, writers, distillery folks, and common folks about music and whiskey. It releases every Wednesday on all your platforms. Hopefully, Mr. Kevin will chime in the chat and let us know what shows are coming up here. I know he's got himself booked out all the way through October. Then we have If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything, which is a show about the spirits and paranormal among us, as well as the unexplained and the spiritual. Subscribe on Spotify to get all 4 seasons. 5th season is underway, at least as far as recording is concerned. And then we have the Whiskey in My Ring podcast. Wow, I Cannot Talk, where David Levine gives great interviews. David does great notes. David does great tasting notes. David does a really good job of putting together an award show. Basically, David does all the things that we don't do, which is that and more. So yeah, please check out David. And he, I think, has a couple of upcoming shows on with the Bar Cart Co-op and maybe Bourbon Turntable. So check that one out. So with that, I'll go down the list of people in the chat. Kevin, Emily, who retracted a message. That's not cool. Jesse Page. Hello, Jesse. Got some samples for you. I've got to figure out how to get together. Miss Renita, Grandma Extraordinaire, and Miss Morgan. Well, damn, Miss Morgan. And that's everybody so far. And oh, look, there's the Explorer.
Just for a little bit. Explorer. What were you guys saying before I got here?
Huh? Nothing.
I don't know what I'm saying. But that's okay. How are you guys doing this evening?
Living that dream.
Yeah. Tired, wore out.
Yeah.
It's been a long week.
Yeah. Back in the hospital, so fun times around.
Yeah.
Well, that is no fun whatsoever.
And you have a little break from making ethanol?
Yeah. I only worked 72 hours last week, or
Yeah,
74
that's not
hours last week, so that's not too much. But I saw that Kevin has Liberty Pole on Bourbon Turntable. They
Yeah.
make some amazing stuff. Specifically, their peated rye is abso-freaking-lutely astounding. Like, oh my goodness, just because peat is so earthy, and then the rye they use is herbal and earthy, and it just goes together so well.
Very cool. I have yet to have much from Liberty Pool just because I can't get it. Well, I can't get it easily. It takes effort.
Yeah, I believe I've had one of them, but it was a while ago, and I can't remember what it is. So I don't remember it being bad. So that's a positive thing. It's one of those things that's like, oh, I had that. I will never touch that again. No. Like I had one of them, and I think I liked it, but I can't remember what of the brand it was. So that doesn't really count.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh wow, that would be one to definitely
Sounds
try.
good.
It sounds overly good. It sounds like those neat twists where you're like, I was already happy with the Mahanganela rye, and then you torqued it with peat. Sorry.
Can you imagine? Not to diminish anything from Liberty Pole, but I've got a pretty good love affair with the Dad's Hat cask strength stuff.
Yes, you do.
Can you imagine that peated?
There's a lot of peated things that I would like to see a little.
But it's a good kind of aggressive.
Well, so say, I'm like, how peated do you want to go with that one though? With Dad's Hat at cask strength.
Well, but the thing is, what makes me wonder is how not because it's my favorite of the region, but I'll just use it as an example. It seems like it would be more like a really strong cast strength Ardbeg.
Ooh. Okay, so I mean, like getting a little bit peat, but letting the rye do a little bit of the dirty work.
Yeah, just because of the aggressiveness, and out of all of those, because I think even with Bunnahabhain, getting or the Brook especially Brook cast strength, it's got some depth to it, but I think there's just a level of aggression that Ardbeg has the ability to go to that would make me think that a Dad's Hat peated could be an American equivalent of that. And not only that, but the American equivalent as Europeans see Americans.
Monster trucks and guns.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I'm not complaining about that one bit. I think that could be amazing.
Well, there's like you're saying, there's not, other than Ardbeg, there's not too many that openly go into the fray of just flavors and are like, here, we'll smack you around with some of it and see what happens. I mean, you could argue Lefroy, but it's not.
But cast strength Lefroy does not toss you around.
Well, they haven't tried as many, like, I want to say, different things as Ardbeg has, at least in more recent years.
But there's still a sweetness to the Lefroy smoke that the Ardbeg or I don't want to say, maybe sweetness is not the proper term, but there's a certain amount of aggression with Ardbeg smoke that even when, like with Brook it can be intense, but it's not aggressive. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
the aggressive
that
part's right. That is a fair comparison. I would like to, sometimes you need someone to grab you by the shirt collar, shake you around a bit.
Yeah.
Well.
As long as it's not the scene when they're going through the metal detector.
We'll see if it's better or worse at different points here. I'll mute myself.
Yeah.
Back.
So, Mitch, what have you been up to, and what have you been enjoying?
Haven't been drinking a whole lot. Working a lot. Morgan's been in the hospital more than I would enjoy, so she hasn't been drinking a lot. But got samples to send out. So when I was driving from Kentucky to Lincoln, which in a U-Haul takes much longer, made a couple pit stops. Stopped at Spirits French Lick and Wood Hat.
Fire sale.
This is before that.
What? Are you sure it was before the fire sale? You
It was
quite a few bottles.
I mean, I might have started it, but I did buy.
Oh, they certainly finished it.
So, so pick that up. And then amazingly, around here, not everybody knows what great whiskey is. So I have been picking up decanters of whiskey left and right. So I picked up 19 decanters so far, and it's been less than $300. So like averaging what, $6 a decanter or something like that. So
That's
really hoping at least 2 of them are good.
That's really good. I had a pretty good run for a while, and then it's like the word quietly got out. Are you which distillery are you getting the decanters from?
So I've gotten 3 so far. I've gotten McCormick, Ezra Brooks, and Jim Beam.
McCormick was obscene with their amount of decanters.
So yeah, I got like the Founding Fathers ones,
Okay.
which are from like 1976, right?
Yeah.
And it's just all the Founding Fathers, and there's 9 or however many of them, and it's like, Jesus Christ, guys. This is a one-time release for them, right? This is the bicentennial. We're going to put decanters out of Thomas Jefferson and put our whiskey in it.
And Dusty Rhodes isn't one of them. I will say there was a place that had a lot of 1979 to 81 McCormick decanters. And they were dumping them for $10 to $15 a piece. And the majority of them were of a Billiken, which is a little troublemaking demon / fairy. But the Billiken was for, I think, something insurance related. But that McCormick, hey Gavin, that McCormick was it was their bourbon. It was like one of the last of the bourbon coming out, like real bourbon coming out of there. It was not bad at all. Out of the decanters I picked up, though, one of them not good. Like something had happened to it, even though it was sealed up. But all in all, I was surprised. I figured for the price, I'm like, I got a cool looking gold little, demon child. But it was literally gold. I mean, it looked like a, fat little devil.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited about those.
On the bicentennial ones, do you think it was like someone's cousin that was making just let's make a little bit of everything? Because like on the bicentennial, there was an amazing amount of products all over the place, not just like weird decanters. It was like,
oh yeah,
niche stuff for everything. And it's like, well, we made these. Do you want to use them for this?
Yeah. Well, we're going to have the 250 celebration coming up. So
yeah,
that's true.
We'll see what they come up with. But yeah, there was some.
Do you think they just put a knife in it and call it a day?
There was just some really weird, and then there was the McCormick had the Elvis decanters, They had
There are
Chiefs.
so many of those out here.
Yeah.
And
Just a
everybody wants
lot.
like $100 a piece, and they're empty, and they're just like, "Look at this awesome Elvis decanter," and it's like, oh.
I can't remember which one that I got. I bought it. Actually, I bought knowing they were empty. I bought them, but it was some founding fathers standing statues, decanters. They were porcelain, but they're really really nice. But the problem with porcelain is if you wanted to actually get liquid out of it, you're not gonna, because porcelain evaporates. So because it's not baked on ceramic, there's nothing coating, nothing stopping that from coming out. But I got it for like $5 or $6, and I think it's I want to say it's a Ben Franklin. My son's got it, and it's like it's just cool, and it was completely unopened, never had been opened. That seal was not broken. The tax stamp, everything was intact, but not a drop in there. And that was just a problem with porcelain stuff that was uncoated. It was not meant to sit on a shelf.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure. Oh, go ahead. That's actually a neat thing to be hunting. You know, and it sounds better than it was out in Louisville, as for the ability to find them almost. So
It was a terrible place to buy bourbon.
Well, the problem with the decanters too is people they'll put them up in garage sales until somebody comes along and says you're not allowed to sell those. And same thing with estate sales. Like reputable estate sale places won't sell them because they know they'll get in trouble for selling them, because you just can't. But so a lot of people, they're like, I can't sell them, I got to do this, whatever. So they dump them out. And I remember Steve Akeley telling a story about somebody in the St. Louis area that he heard that they had the whole, I think it was the whole Old Crow Chessman set.
Oh, wow.
And he went to go get it. And somebody who was in law enforcement came by and said, you're not allowed to sell those. You can't do it. And so they dumped them all out. So, but anyway, but I mean, I've got some old Beam. I think I still have a sample of one of them. And some of those are just tacky as all get out as far as the decanters. But I have two of a French phone, one of an old the vertical phone, the stand-up one that was a decanter. Some other ones that were insurance specific, whatever, and these other just ungodly tacky ones in a box and everything else. Most of them were good, and some of them were distillate going back to the late 50s, and nobody bought it.
I got a Beam 135 month one, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Very cool.
Just trying something from that age is fun. Saying like the 1950s, like even if it's bad, you're like, well, I still got to try something from whenever that's older than I am.
The oldest month wise that I picked up was a Beam 175.
Oh wow.
And it was it very tacky, very tacky looking, tacky box, and it was never opened anything else, and it was fantastic. So good for you.
Yeah. Fun times.
Yeah.
See, Patrick is drinking his mixer sans whiskey.
Huh?
I said you're drinking your mixer sans whiskey, your Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I have a little bit of that in here today. I went to Whiskey Tail earlier today and may have had a few of their cocktails to try some stuff out, and I just need to have some normal water and soda now. Is where I'm at. They were excellent, and the two I had I could drink all day long without an issue, which would be a problem because you could tell they were a little punch of booze in them. They were delicious. So we'll be talking to Matt here coming up, but yeah, I'm not sipping anything more this evening. I've had my fill for today.
Nice.
Just not gonna lie about that. But no, it's a neat little. It's like a fancier homage to Wisconsin supper clubs. Is kind of what the bar has a theme to it. So it has like this nice kind of like leather, like half moon seats and stuff. So you're part of it. And it's just modern era, but it still harkens to the past really nicely, where you can get that feel from it. It doesn't lose its warmth, but you can see shades of newer tones to it. But it's fun. The next time I come here, I'll be maybe closing the bar down and then just finding a hotel that's a little bit closer, just because it was excellent. Well, it's just another neat little stop in the area. I mean, you got Wollersheim, Driftless Glen, that. Like, it's a neat little area to stop in, and it has more than you would think it would have in the area. I may get off here. There are more people doing things in my neighborhood than they were earlier. Oh, and I even have a kid who popped up behind me. But that wasn't happening before. So more people are coming back to the campground. So I'm going to hang out for a couple more minutes, and I'm probably going to hop off. Sorry about that, everybody. Other whiskeys or spirits I found that were interesting this summer that stood out. I'll be honest, it was Shriner's Gin. I went back to that the other day, and I really, really like all the different floral notes on that. That for a gin, I can't. It's one of those ones I have to put at the upper side of the list of gins for me personally. I can see how maybe it might not be that way on a grand scale for some other people, but I think it's got a hell of a twist. Made a nice little cocktail with it as well, and it was outstanding. So far this summer, that's the one that's kind of caught my attention. I do like, I don't know, I guess I'm sliding back into cocktails, but ones that aren't sugary, which is kind of what I did in the past, mostly with cocktails when, say, 10, 15 years was fun, sugary cocktails. I like ones that aren't now. The ones that have a little more punch, just a nice flavor to it. One of the ones I had earlier today had mole bitters. So like mole sauce. It was awesome. That added a fantastic layer of depth to it that I was not expecting. But on that note of things and noises in the background, sadly, I'm going... Yeah, it just feels like that too. Just the little fingerprints on the wall. That's the picture I get in the morning. But I'm going to jump off. So I'm also picking up some bottles from Sturgeon Spirits that you guys will be getting samples of sent out to you next week. And we'll be setting up a time with them. And that's the one that had all like the mushroom and crazy stuff. So there might be a phone call on Wednesday evening when I might have to debate on which ones you guys want to try, because there is a plethora of things from them. So there may be a quick conversation phone call. But I'm going to let you guys go. I'm sorry about that and everyone on the show. And you guys have a good evening.
You too. Cheers.
All right.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I just hit end stream and I didn't want to end it for everybody. I wasn't used to being in control that way, so I didn't. So sorry. I'm just going to flip off here and hopefully my phone does what it's supposed to do. Sorry about that.
So I went to a place, a friend and his girlfriend. They go out and hit happy hours and stuff on the weekends, and they kept talking about this place in Independence, which was 15 minutes away from me. Independence, home of Harry S. Truman. But he's talking about this new whiskey bar that had opened up over there. And so Saturday, I joined them for happy hour. But this place, it is a real whiskey bar. So we had two good previous whiskey bars, and as far as what I will call them, as it is a whiskey bar first, happens to have food. And we had one years ago that was phenomenal, and the food was unbelievable. It was on diners, drive-ins, and dives, and all kinds of other great stuff. They just had a wonderful selection, and unfortunately, it went away. There was another place. It was a really great bar. The Ewalds came to town, and Tim Swate came to town, and we went there. Sadly, they have decided to call that quits also. This place opened up, and it's a guy who kind of started it with his collection. So they're in the square in downtown Independence. For anyone who's in the area or who is traveling around, they own 3 units right next to each other in the square. First one is the bar called the Sentinel, which is named after it's in where the Sentinel newspaper printing presses were. Next door to it is a store that's like I don't know, Kansas City or Independence things, that has touristy things, sauces, things like that. But you can buy bottles that you can buy pours from in the bar. And then next to that, they're building a tasting room. But the thing that was really surprising was the bar itself. They had food, but it was basically charcuterie boards. We got a charcuterie board, and it was a really, really good charcuterie board. I will say that. But 99% of the whiskey that was on this list was American. There was Scotch used in one of the cocktails that they put on. But here's the thing that got me was the price of the pours. I don't go out to bars normally because I think that what a lot of bars charge is obscene. And for example, there's a couple near me, and if you go there and you're just like, I just want to go get something really simple, and you say, I would like to get a shot of Knob Creek. It is $7.50 to $8 for a shot of Knob Creek. This place I got, because I wanted to get a couple things that I hadn't had. I got the Green River Weeded for $5 for 1 ounce.
It's not bad.
It is not bad at all. I got, they had Fortuitous Union from Rolling Fork, who will be on at some point. And that was $6. And then a Russell's Reserve single barrel, and it was $9. Nice. And looking at the prices of that, their valuation was about a seventh to an eighth the cost of what a bottle is, based on those prices. Okay, if you took that into places that have like the Knob Creek for $7.50 to $8, then they're valuing a bottle of Knob Creek at mid-50s to almost $60 a bottle.
Yeah,
it's stupid. But this guy also, along with his list, I looked on there and I was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" You know what they had on the list, Mitch? Hartfield.
Oh, no way.
He had Hartfield. He had, and so I was asking him, and I said, "Hey, what's the deal with, where'd you get it?" And he said that actually there was a thing that the distributor put on, and that's why he ended up with it. But the bottles that they had next door, they had a fair amount. But he said the whole thing with the tasting room, they were going to do more with that too. And the goal was basically to have a tasting bottle, and then behind it, bottles that you can buy. And the prices that they have for bottles are really good. Anyway, owner, super nice guy. Wife was very nice. I was very happy with all the stuff I got. There needs to be more places like that you can go in at a reasonable price to try something that you want to try. And how cool is it that you can just walk out with a bottle too?
Oh,
so
yeah. I love that. Right?
Yeah, no, it was great. My friends and his girlfriend had been there a couple times, and this is my first time going. At least as far as people in the chat, Jesse's in the area. I highly recommend running over there. I'd be happy to go over there again. Place was really cool, and also the main bar area. Maybe you could have 20 people there. But a lot of that is because there was like 6 stools at the bar, and all the other seating were like leather chairs and couches. I know, right? It was like all spread out and nice. It was pretty cool. But that was just Saturday. That was honestly a highlight because there's not bars that I could go to that I can try stuff. And they also didn't have, like he said, they weren't against it, but they weren't going to be that place where they had to have Eagle Rare, they had to have Blands, they had to have some of these other things. And one of the comments that he made was because people who've come in is like, do you have Eagle Rare? He's like, no, but I have this that you should really try. It's like, I like that because they have had to deal with, we talked some distributor talk. They've had to deal with some stuff, but he's like, there's a lot of things. But anyway, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jesse, we need to figure that out because that's it was cool. Super nice people, really, really nice people, which really goes a long way. But again, fair pricing, really good selection. So yeah, that was my big that was my scores. I really haven't got any bottles or anything, but
well, I'll talk about a couple of the retail things I picked up. So Leopold Brothers, I can finally get more of it. So I managed to pick up the Leopold bourbon finished in rye cask, or their 3-chamber rye.
I've got that. That is,
I'm just now drinking it, and it is fan-freaking-tastic.
It was great on the first pour, and then I waited like a week, and I had the second one. Yeah. I don't think Todd can mess something up if he tried. I really don't.
I mean, it's got to be maybe because I already have 3 stores I like going to, and I went to one of them and I was like, oh my god, I've never seen this from Leopold. I've never seen that. Oh my god, I've never seen this. And I go to a different one. I'm just like, oh, they had that. Here's a new thing from Todd I haven't seen. This is fantastic.
Yeah, we get a few. We'll get the Leopold gins, the seasonal gins, the absinthe, most of the liqueurs. I sometimes see the bourbon. I have not seen the Maryland style rye for a long time. But the good thing is you can order from Leopold. So if you don't see it, you can get it. So I did actually, it wasn't too long ago. I did pick up, along with the 8-year finished in 3-chamber, the Leopold American corn whiskey.
Oh.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Jesse, because he's in the area, I've got samples pulled, and that's one of them, Jesse. Cask strength 6-year-old. I tried it this winter with Kevin, and then I had a chance to pick up a bottle of it. It's a liter. It's good. It's really good.
Speaking of, did you manage to make it to Gary's 80th birthday?
I did not make it to Gary's 80th birthday. I would have liked to have done it, but the problem with going there is at 2.5-hour drive, I would have had to have a hotel because you're not just going to go to Gary's 80th birthday party for like an hour and then turn around and come back. So, it didn't work out because I couldn't give up. I couldn't give up a day and a half to 2 days, which was unfortunate because I'm sure would have been great. And also I knew that there was some cask strength stuff that you get to try, which I'm willing to go out on a limb to say that it was pretty good.
More than likely. So I was looking at it, but it was going to be like a 6-hour drive. And it's like, okay, I get off work at 8 a.m.
Yeah. So
I could get down there at 2 p.m. if I don't sleep for like 24 hours.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that place, the Sentinel, by the way, aside from, they had a fair amount of wood hat, but there's one place in Missouri I've seen where I can pick up a couple of the wood hat liqueurs when they have them. usually have to jump over to the Kansas side to pick that up. They had 2 of the liqueurs on shelf at this bar, along with several wood hats. I was like, this guy knows what's up.
That persimmon liqueur.
Yeah, they didn't have persimmon. They had berry, and they had the black walnut. But the black walnut, as I understand, well, no, I did get to try a cocktail made at Wood Hat with it. They use it in Manhattan. But
so the persimmon I would describe as everything you want fall to taste like without apples.
That's a fair assessment.
It's so good.
I took my I had about a half bottle of the tawny berry liqueur from Wood Hat and persimmon, and we drove up to see some relatives a few weeks ago, and I took them up there, and let my sister-in-law try them, and she's a huge wine person, and she was very excited. I'll just say that.
So I've enjoyed everything I've had, and they have their new white dog out now, which is the orange corn white dog.
Oh my god, that orange corn! I still have like I had a 1 ounce sample of that orange corn at 1 year, and a lot of things were being thrown out in flavors, and then one guy said it, and they really hit it. He goes, "It's an orange Julius." It's like, Gary, bottle it now. And I think Neil had it. Neil Robinson, he'd had it too. And it's like, bottle this now.
I mean, I wish I could have had it, but
yeah.
Well. This 8-year from, oh my god,
I'm having a cast strength Catoctin Creek rye.
It's really solid.
It's very solid. I cannot complain. So now that you're not in Louisville, the upcoming festivals, I am going to Bourbon on the Banks. I'm assuming you won't be able to make it.
Probably not. Just getting. So my schedule is 6 on, 2 off, and it's 12-hour days. So if I want to take a day off, it's 12 hours of vacation. So really hard to do vacation right now. So next year will probably be the next time I can actually take a vacation, because I'll be on 4 on, 4 off then, so it'll line out a little better.
Yeah, that's all right. I am going to Louisville next week.
Ooh. So
going to be with Kevin and hit a couple of places. I think one of the places on the list is Patoka /
nice.
Old Homestead. So the Patoka has, or Old Homestead, excuse me, their Sunshine Spirits. They've got the labels and everything for it. They've got stuff, and it should be for sale by then. Gotten I won't say it's an unbiased opinion, but I'll say it is a biased opinion that I would trust. Somebody who has had them, and they were very excited with those. So looking forward to trying that. And then so it should be a good time. I think we're going to Peerless also.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So
I have to get. So I had bourbon shipped to my house before I sold it, but they wouldn't deliver it. So it ended up at the UPS store, and I didn't have time to make it. So my parents picked it up instead of me. So now my parents have my bourbon there. So I might need to have them give it to Kevin or you here.
All right.
In a week.
We can make things happen.
That might be awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's several single barrels from MB Roland.
Oh,
well. Like, y'all can just take your samples now. And then
I'll just say right now they were lost in transit.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I don't know what you're talking about. But yes, yeah, we definitely do that because I've got to go swing by. I've got a bottle of Far North. I got to drop off to Ben at Far North with the Hazlitt single varietal rye.
Oh,
I really would like to open it, but I can't. So it's going to get dropped off to him. But yeah, I'd be happy to end up with those because it'd probably be easier for me to truck them up to you.
yeah. We'll come down there eventually. So
yeah,
the other thing I got, right, the one and only release from Mr. Justin Whaley.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because when I went up there, he was blending some things to release, and they were really good.
There's a lot of stuff sitting in that warehouse that needs to find a home.
I got one. I do have a home. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, Glens Creek. So Glens Creek, one of my favorite places. Got the email today that they had another release of OCD 5 Premium and OCD 5 Premium hand filtered. Limited number of bottles. I did try to get one, and I responded right when I got the email, but apparently a lot of people came in and bought it. So because I more than anything, I wanted to compare that OCD 5 Premium to the one that I got last year, which was right on the money. So yeah, missed out on those, but yeah, Bottled and Bond OCD 5. I would, yeah, definitely. I want to get one of those too if they still have any of them. But Glens Creek is so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got the email, but I was like, I don't know the next time I'm going to be able to go.
They'll hold them indefinitely, but there weren't that many
great.
bottles. That's just it. There were not very many bottles at all.
I've got a room I can't walk in because
I mean, I have more than I need, but like I said, my motivation was I really want to compare that to the one that I've got that was so good.
So throwing out some quick tasting notes on this, since why not? Very orange and cardamom heavy, like light smoke. Quite enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Leopold has a tendency to be very fruit and floral forward, no matter what it is. Oh, on that.
Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't gotten to try that yet, so.
Yeah, he was not thrilled about that. Somebody was supposed to send us the samples and they just straight up didn't.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter saying anything, but, there's a kind of a history with French Lick when we had early on, they used the logo for our tiny little channel and they put it on some bottles in the tasting room. And they used our name and they're like, oh, thank you guys for saying how much you like us. And they're, whatever, put that on there. We had talked about doing a barrel pick. We were in line to get a barrel pick done. And then we had heard the question was, because there were some samples were going to go to us. And then it came from somebody there who said, well, they're not vetted. So nothing happened with that. And nothing happened with getting the single barrel. It's like, that's cool. You didn't mind sticking our logo on your stuff and putting it on the thing. And, we don't live in town, but yet we find a way to get your stuff. So, we are fans, etc. And now, they lost their distiller. They lost their assistant distiller. They lost the person. Well, not lost. They got rid of the person who was supposed to be their distiller. And what I heard is that they said they ceased distilling operations there. So you got some really good stuff sitting there that somebody needs to get a hold of. If nothing else, just to pick up some of those. And then I saw a post from somebody in North Carolina from one of the ABC stores there was it was, which one was it? It was one of the French lick releases, but they were selling them for like $20 a bottle. I know. It's like, the cost of getting to the Carolinas.
Well,
anyway, which again, it's too bad. I know that, you know, the former distiller Allen has moved on. Doesn't look back, but
well, you know,
I could stand to have a stock of Matty Gladden, and I'd be a happy person.
I'm upset for Justin because
Yeah.
I wish they had let him shine for a little bit.
Yeah, he didn't get a shot.
But that being said, I'm pretty sure he has his EMT certification, and he will, you know, land on his feet. So
Yeah.
that is the one solace I am taking in that.
Yeah.
Because
So
I was excited because Justin said he was interested in finishing, more so than Alan was, right? Alan is very much respect the grain, you know,
Yeah.
release things, kind of younger, that sort of stuff. So I was very excited to see what respecting the grain and then also kind of secondary maturation would meet and become.
yeah. Yeah, because even the stuff that did get finished when Alan was there, you know, there was, well, obviously the first one was the unpretentious, the pork finished Young Matty, which was amazing. And then there was that stout finish Lee Sinclair. That was so good. And then, you know, in the tasting room, they had the stout finished Morning Glory. That was chocolate on top of chocolate. That was really good. So, but again, that just showed, okay, listen, you have good distillate. You have really good aged whiskey. You've got good recipes. There's nothing wrong with that. And then you throw that, you know, a little something on top of it that complements it quite well. But I mean, he's got barrels of distilled oat whiskey, and you know, got to try some of those last year, and it was just really good. So anyway, but we'll see. Unfortunately, there will be more of that, more places that are not around.
Yep. So, since we're kind of doing the drinks of the summer, this is not a summery drink at all, but
Blackadder.
well, there have not been a lot of Blackadders that I've seen in Kentucky. I've only seen like 2 or 3, and this is a finish that I've never seen before. So this is an Embers from their Peat Reek, which is supposedly like a super fancy. But this is an Amontillado cask finish. So if you've ever read, you know, God, what is, I just forgot his name. Quoth the Raven, nevermore. Edgar Allan Poe. Thank you. Right, he wrote the cask of Amontillado. So this is one of those casks. And I bought it.
I need to find this. Yeah, did you get that in Kentucky or did you get that in Nebraska?
Nebraska. I've only ever seen 2 things of Blackadder in Kentucky.
Interesting. Okay. I got to find this because so way back in the day, watching stuff on YouTube. Kevin wants you to say that again.
Which part? Because I know I'm pronouncing the wine wrong.
Maybe he wants you to say it all again. Say it with an accent.
Quoth the Raven, nevermore.
With a thick Minnesota accent. Or the oh God, what was his name? Tim Conway's character on Carol Burnett, Mr. Tudball. Mrs. Huygens.
the Blackadder descriptions. So this is a peat reek. It's the Embers, which is supposedly a really fancy one, I think is how I described it. And it is aged in a cask of Amontillado wine, or I'm not entirely sure what it is. Is it a fortified wine or a regular wine? I should
You're
probably
asking
look
the
that
wrong
up.
person. You need to say it like Antonio Banderas.
I'm not sexy enough to do that.
Let's see. I gotta find this thing. So okay, so back in the day of YouTube's, watching Scotch Test Dummies early on, because I found that I aligned a lot with Scott's palate. But they had mentioned there's a place in Oklahoma, and I want to make sure that I give the name because you never know. I believe it is a place called The Well in Oklahoma City. And that guy was like the first one that brought in Blackadder. And they had a Blackadder on there, and they're like, "Oh, man, you gotta try." Oh God, and they said, "Check this out." And they pulled the bottle up, and it just had so much char floating around in the bottle.
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 flecks in just this.
Yeah. They're just like, you're getting all of it. And they were just going on about the Blackadder and then talking about this place. But this guy would get stuff that other people didn't. He was one of the early ones to get Blackadder. He was one of the early ones to get some of the Czechoslovakian whiskey that was coming out, when that got discovered, and all these other things. But I'm pretty sure, because it was on my list of places, because I had a list of whiskey destinations. The Well was number one. Byron's, Sam's, the Valkyrie, but I'm 100% positive that the Well is the location. But and I've seen a couple Blackadders floating around, but I've never seen the Blackadders that fit closer to the description of what I saw on the dummies, because theirs was cast strength, and it was just kind of like we suck this out with a turkey baster to get every last drop and put it in a bottle.
So yeah, this is 57.4% and 700 mils. So definitely imported.
Yeah.
It's good.
Kevin mentioned the Czech whiskey. So I've got, it's a Hammerhead. That was the first one that I saw out. It's a distilled back in the Iron Curtain days. There's a few different versions of Hammerhead that were released. The one I've got, I think, is 23-year-old, but it's a single malt Czech whiskey aged in Czech wood. I can't verify that the entire story is accurate, but they say this is when it was distilled. This is when it was found. It was sitting behind the curtain, and of course, capitalism, yay, capitalism, jumps in there and gets the bottles and puts them out. So there's more than one product with an age statement. So either they are horrible liars or it is all true.
Yeah. I mean, if it tastes good, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I don't dip into it a lot. Actually, last time I dipped into it was when actually it's been over a year. Last time I opened it, because for the TV show The Boys, especially when the new season starts and there's a couple episodes out, I'll get together with a friend and we'll watch episodes of it. And I remember I picked out whiskeys to take over there that sounded like superhero or villain names, and Hammerhead would be one of those names.
Yeah. Blackadder.
Yeah. Blackadder would have worked. I did do done Harbinger. Oh geez, what was the one that we had recently? We did it was an ASW. Syncopation.
There you go. Yeah.
That anyway, yeah, just some odd names, but
also I'd like to throw it out there. This is my drink of the summer, my actual drink of the summer. It's Nebraska Brewing Company. Plum Up the Jam, which is didn't know how much I like plums.
Okay. As long as it's not prune juice beer.
Close. I mean, hey man, I'm 35. I need to stay regular. So Morgan, they do make a pickle beer, and she is obsessed.
I could see that being good.
Yeah, I'll say good. Morgan would say amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's right down the road from her work, and I am absolutely amazed that she doesn't stop every day she leaves work and get a pickle beer before she comes home to deal with me.
Yeah, you can only have so much.
You know, I'm not saying 6 before she comes home. You know,
Yeah.
just pickle beer for the road.
I mean, it is the Midwest. It's probably allowed. It's Nebraska.
I'm pretty sure it is, if I'm 100% honest. It'd be even better if they put like a pickle spear in there. Then I'd probably actually really enjoy it.
I saw a recipe today for they took huge fat pickles and sliced them down the length of them, took out the soft meat in the middle, and they essentially used it as the bread for a sub sandwich.
I've seen that. Oh my God, yes.
I saw that and I was like, what? Oh, yeah, I like that. I would like that a lot. That would be, and then can you imagine that on the place of like a good club with a lot of bacon? Oh, that'd be amazing.
I would do a turkey Swiss with, lots of bacon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, on that just monstrous pickle. Yeah. Please.
A little bit of cream cheese. Uh-oh.
No ab.
You had me at Imperial Stout. Okay.
So Nebraska Brewing Company, surprisingly in Costco here. So very well distributed in Nebraska. I'm also discovering how popular Busch Light is. Like in Louisville, not a thing. Like really not a thing. Here, number one beer everyone talks about.
It's another part of the Midwest. So I could see it. So, well, cool. We're closing in on an hour. And Morgan's in the chat, which is good.
Yeah. She's conscious. That could be good. Maybe she needs sleep. I don't know. Getting away from me.
I'm sure she needs sleep.
Yeah. So if you pray for Morgan, right? Speedy recovery. We'd love for her to leave the hospital tomorrow. If you send good vibes, send good vibes. But
yeah. Rumors of her demise have been exaggerated.
Yeah, and she's alive and very annoyed with me. Every time I stop by, I make sure and get her to roll her eyes at least twice.
I mean, it's your duty.
It really is. So it's great. I go. Sometimes there are nurses or doctors.
We need to get Morgan upright and out.
And I'll just say something that just makes everyone in the room just groan, and it's like, oh, there we go. That was what I was trying to do.
I've done my work.
Yeah, my work here is done. I'm ready to go home now. Take care of my dog. Make sure he's fed. And also,
thanks, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, shout out to Bo, because we still call our dog the Malort hole. Like, freaking, that is now our vocabulary.
So I'm curious because I know, Iowa's close enough to Chicago, but not as many people into Malort, or at least knowledgeable of it, is what I thought. what about Nebraska? Of course, you guys probably haven't been out and about in Nebraska enough to know if people are into Malort.
The only bar I've been to has been called Jake's Cigar Bar, and they have a Malort sign on the window. So maybe. And I've seen it in stores, whereas previously in Kentucky, I only ever found it in one store. And that was like right before I left. I bought it in Wisconsin because I couldn't find it in Kentucky.
Huh. Okay. I last time I bought a bottle, I bought it at another store of my local favorite, and I was picking it up, and they go, the guy says, "You're buying Malort?" It's like, yeah, and he's like, "Why are you buying Malort?" And I said, "Because we're going to pair it with McRibs," and he goes, "Ew," and then something like, "I'm going to need to know how that turns out." So I have not seen him in over a year to report back, but I mean, it turned out as expected as far as I was concerned. One of the other people, not so much. Just say our friend Alan had results.
Yeah.
That's the time where he had to pause the screen, leave, and then come back.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. There's an amazing cocktail bar in Louisville called North of Bourbon, and they have Malort in a couple of their cocktails. Not as, like major ingredients, but like a bar spoon of it just to add like that bitter component to help balance it.
Huh. Interesting. I want to try. I don't think it would take much because Adina had come up with a cocktail with Malort, and the rules were she needed to use a McRib and a cheesy poof as part of it. And she had a cocktail, and Dave goes, "It was actually pretty good." But the garnish was a piece of meat and a cheesy poof, and but I cannot remember what the heck it was that she did to it. It's like, of course it was good because you made it.
They are the champs, so
they are the champs. Yeah, all hail. So yes, Morgan, she can make a killer cocktail out of anything. Yes. I should have her link. We should have her link saved to tell people to follow her, but they should follow her all the time because, man, the cocktail she puts up is like, oh, it's just this little simple thing. It's like, I don't know what half of that is.
She makes me want to drink cocktails, but also understand why I don't make cocktails. Because everything she puts out is like, that looks great. I could never do that.
Yeah. I still think, because when I think it was at this last Bourbon on the Banks, we're talking about her having a mobile cocktails that would be like an old school 3-wheeled bicycle, pre-made cocktails, and you would probably just get around pesky rules by saying you could buy this glass from me, this plastic cup, for X, and I'll fill it, with my thing. It's like you could hit cul-de-sacs and stuff, hit parents at soccer games, baseball games, just go around there, or people that were like, leaving a dinner or something like that. And you just have like the gourmet tricycle that comes running around and sell out on your pre-made stuff, because they will not get that anyplace else. There's no way.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Oh, well. But.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have anything else. I've talked about the bottles, talked about the Sentinel. It's the only thing I had. Louisville trip. Bourbon on the Banks, of course, coming up. Not the Kentucky Bourbon Fest.
Not going to that. Wish I was going to Bourbon on the Banks.
Yeah.
if I could make it work, I really would. Like if it was during my 2 days off, I would go. I'd fly down.
Yeah.
Just drink.
They sold out of all of their tickets for Bourbon on the Banks, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them.
Absolutely.
So anyway, all right. Well, with that, Mitch, are you available next week?
Next week, yes, and then
Okay.
6 weeks of no, followed by 2 weeks of yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have
And
hopefully
then I'm
more.
going to work on sending samples out, and then we can have a 20-part series of the Omaha, because that's about what it is. Because just on my way to Omaha, I picked up more than 3 cases. So is what it is.
You're gonna need to put an addition on your house just for.
Oh no, there already is. There is the biggest room in the house is the whiskey room.
Okay.
I just haven't put any shelves up yet.
Okay. You'll just be one of those people with the all the modified furniture that's like you knock on the dining room tabletop and the leg opens up and there's 2 bottles in the leg. All this Fred Sanford stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point that that would not be a bad idea.
I mean, it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be. It'd also be way more money than I'm willing to spend, but whatever.
Yeah. That's all right. All right. Well, I will. I'm going to get ready to do some clicking here so we could close out. Since we do have over an hour and 5. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Always on Monday nights, don't forget to check out our friends, the Whiskey Crusaders. Well, they do their episodes. And just look for more stuff coming from us. Oh, there we go. Naturally, and of course, Emily. There you go. Follow on Instagram. Yeah, Cocktails Galore is an understatement. There's no jealousy looking at her stuff. It's just pure amazement. You're like, okay. And then there's a story along with it. And she'll say, oh, it's like one of recent posts was like, oh, it's not as hard to make as you think. Well, it is if you have none of that stuff.
It's like watching the Olympics, right? When they're on, you watch it and you're like, they're just running. And you're like, yeah, that's not something I can do. All right. Like
exactly.
There's a difference.
Yes. Yeah. Or like not only running, but thinking of the equipment wise, whereas if you're watching the bicycle races, the track bicycle races, where you're like, oh, I mean, it's just the people on a bike. Well, their bike is, tuned much nicer than yours, designed for this, aerodynamic, etc. But yes, you do have a bike, Mitch.
I don't, but good thought.
Yeah, your French Huffet bike does not compare to the carbon fiber excellence that is floating around the track right now.
Mm-hmm.
And as Kevin said, the show he did with Ben, it's still out there because they don't go away. That was a good episode. A lot of good catching up with him and Ben last week. It was good. It was a very good episode, as most of the episodes are. So with all of that said, it's good to have Mitch back again. Yay. Good to see Morgan active and sassy in the chat and ready to get out of there. And Pat, maybe Pat will come back. Maybe he'll come back out of the woods. I don't know.
Maybe it's just this new thing.
He's now become a feral spider monkey out in the woods of Wisconsin. So as is always said, it's not the size of the den that matters. It's the love of the whiskey. So cheers. Cheers with your beers.
Absolutely.
What?